Hi you guys, it is Jaliyah.Kreationz and I'm officially back with another video. Oh my gosh, it feels like forever again and I feel like you guys are gonna cuss me out, but you know what, I don't care. It has been a crazy just time period in history. If you're new here guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Jaliyah.Kreationz. I am the financial coach that teaches you how to manage your finances without it being boring, without it being stressful. I make budgeting simple as possible for you. Today we're gonna be doing a budget, but before we get into this budget, I want to make sure you guys like this video and hit that subscribe button, and welcome to the Budget Babe and Budget Bro family. You guys, I'm so excited. This budget is going to be a really good one. I have so much content that I literally need to do for you guys. I've been so backed up. I did move into a new office, if you guys watched my post that I made on here, so I can't wait to show you guys an office tour and show you how everything is when it's all set up. I'm so excited for you guys to see everything. But I'm gonna be jumping into a budget today. We're gonna be talking about bankruptcy and when we should move our bills. Do we have too many bills coming out at one time? When should we space out our bills? That's everything we're going to be talking about today in this budget. So I'm so excited. We're gonna jump straight into it and get this budget ready to go. This is a client that is dealing with bankruptcy. So her bankruptcy plan was to pay off the bankruptcy in 60 months. After doing her budget, we broke it down to 26 months. So I'm excited to share you guys the plan that I created for her. This may be helpful or useful for somebody else that's in the same position. So if you would like to get your own customized budget, make sure you go to the description box below and book your one-on-one consultations with me. It is almost the same environment, literally same. We're using a planner, either my digital or my physical, and I'm doing the same steps that I'm doing for this client for you. So whatever your financial goals are, I highly recommend booking a private one-on-one consultation with me. It's going to help you because you're going to get the best results because it's personalized just to you. All right, you guys, let's get straight into it. All right, you guys, so the first thing we're going to do, like we always do, is set up our calendar. Let's go ahead and pull our calendar up here and get this open. And we're going to be doing the month of February. I know we're still in January, but I can't believe how fast January is literally like flying by. Like, this is crazy how quick January is literally like here and gone. So we're gonna go ahead and set up our February calendar, and I'm gonna go ahead and time-elapse this, and I'll be right back once I get everything set up and filled in here, and then we'll talk about it. Alright, you guys, and just like that, we set up our bill calendar so you can see all the bills when they come out, when they're due, all of that good stuff in here. Here's all of our bills, everything spread out. Here's all of our expenses, and then the bank R, you guys, stands for the bankruptcy payment, since we are dealing with the budget to pay off bankruptcy. So that's all of our bills in here. As you can see, we have some weeks where we have more bills coming out than the other. Because this is 2 jobs and she's paid bi-weekly from both jobs, it turns into a weekly budget. So we're gonna move some of these expenses down, and I'm gonna show you how you navigate through should you change your pay periods for some of your bills and expenses. I'm gonna answer that when we get started with our paycheck budgets. So now we're gonna head into our monthly budget. Let's write down everything we're bringing in for the month, and we're gonna write down everything that's going out for the month. Alright, you guys, so let's go ahead and label what month this is. It's going to be for the month of February once again. Our budget goal is to basically just get a budget. She just needs some structure here. So we're going to go ahead and write down our different sources. So we have 2 different jobs. We have, I meant to say one job is bi-weekly and then the other one's weekly. My bad, you guys. So bi-weekly number 1, we have job number 1, which is bi-weekly, and we are bringing in $17.21 bi-weekly. And then we have our weekly job, which is going to be job number 2, and that is $1,200 a week. So let's go ahead and do the math. Alright, if we have $17.21 coming in bi-weekly, that's about $34.42 per month. Alright, and then we got $1,200 times 4. That's about $4,800 per month. Let's add those 2 together. $4,800 plus $34.42. We're roughly bringing in about $82.42 a month as our income. All right, so now we're gonna go ahead and go in and write our fixed expenses versus our variable expenses. So our fixed are gonna be our bills that are usually the same every single month, you guys. These are gonna be our bills, main bills, and then we're gonna go ahead and write our variables, our groceries, our gas, our things that vary each month. So we're gonna go ahead and set this up, and I will. Alright, so the mortgage, we have 2/1 to 2/15 because we have that time frame to pay that off. So we have 2 mortgages, so we're going to put mortgage number 1, which is going to be $15.99, and then 2/1. We got mortgage number 2, yeah, for my YouTube. And then we got 2/14. We got the alarm for 51. And then we also have our phone bill. $225. Thanks, guys. For all y'all that be saying, my bills can't fit in there, it's too small. Baby, look, we gonna make some room, okay? So we got gas, which is gonna be 80. We got trash for 54. 228. Wi-Fi for 50. We have the bankruptcy. It's out on the 16th. 1188. And we have 2 different life insurances. Insurance number 1, $541. Life insurance number 2, $40. $227. $218. Sorry, you guys. These dates are gonna be out of order on the monthly budget, but it's gonna be in order on the paycheck breakdown. 227. We got the ROA for 290. 217. We got kids life insurance for 380. And then we got a personal loan which is going to be $784 per month. And this comes out bi-weekly. And then we have 223. The second house insurance. And then we have the electric with no date on there. It just comes out every so often, so we're just gonna fit it in the budget. And then the second house insurance was $73. Okay, so subscriptions total to about $70 per month. Subscriptions are technically a fixed expense. You're gonna see me put them as a variable because you can cut those to save money. Then we have our braces. Maybe 181. And then we have car gas, which is going to be $360 per month. Then we have hair, which is $140 per month, and this is bi-weekly. All right. And then we have nails, which we get done on around the 20th of each month. Nails for $70. And then groceries, $200. And then eating out, $45. Alright, you guys, let's go ahead and add up our expenses for the month. Let's see how much we total to, and then how much money we have left over to work on paying off our debt and reaching our budget goal. Alright, so let's go ahead and start with our fixed side. So we got first mortgage for $15.99. Second mortgage for $58, alarm for $51, phone for $225, gas for $80, trash for $54, Wi-Fi for $50, bankruptcy for $11.88, life insurance $541, life insurance number 2 $40, ROA $290, kids life insurance $380. Personal loan $784, second house insurance $73, and electric for $67. All right, so I got in the fixed category, I got $58.80 as our fixed bill total. So $58.80 is our bill total. All right, now we're gonna go ahead and add up our variables. Subscription $70, braces $181, gas $360, hair $140, nails $70, groceries $200, and eating out for $45. So our variable is going to be $1066. Go ahead and add those two up together. So we got 1066 plus 5880 is going to total to 6946 as our expense total, you guys. So not too bad. Now let's go ahead and find our cash surplus. Our cash surplus is going to be the money we have left over after bills and expenses. How we get this number, we take our income, which is going to be 82.42, and we're minus it from 69.46, and we're going to see what our cash surplus is. So formula for this, guys, is income 82.42, so we're bringing in for the month. 69.46 is what's going out. So we'll basically have 12.96 left over. So nice cash surplus. Okay, so now let's figure out where this is going to be in our paycheck breakdown, you guys. Alright, you guys, so now we're going to go ahead and set up our weeks of. So these are our Mondays to Sundays. We're going to start with the week of, let's see here, January 26th to February 2nd, because that is our last Monday to Sunday going into the new month. All right, so we got January 26th to February 2nd. Then we got February 3rd going into February 9th. And then we got February 10th to February 16th. And February 17th. Here to the 23rd. And then February 24th. To March 2nd. Alright, you guys, so now we set up our weeks of, so now it's time to set up our paydays of. Alright, you guys, so now we're going to go ahead and set up our weeks of, which is basically our paydays of. So let's go ahead and section this off. So the first payday we're starting with is the paycheck of the 31st, you guys. So we're going to go ahead and section this off. So we got our payday of the 31st. We get paid from both jobs, bringing in $29.21 for our paycheck. So what we're going to go ahead and do on here, we're going to write the payday of, so we know which paycheck this is covering. And we're going to put 1/31st, and we're going to put the amount that comes out. $29.21 is what's coming out. All right. So now we're going to go ahead and section off which expenses are going to come out. So where's that blue highlighter? So as you can see this week, the payday of, I'm going to go ahead and section this off. We have to cover everything from the 31st all the way until the 7th. So that's our next paycheck. All right. Go ahead and section off our calendar. All right. So right off the bat, we have our personal loan, which comes out bi-weekly. So let me make sure I put the personal loan over here too, so I don't forget. Personal loan comes out bi-weekly with our bi-weekly check. All right, so what we're gonna go ahead and do on our paycheck breakdown, we're gonna write down what bills come out. So we're gonna go ahead and put our personal loan, which is gonna be $392. We have that coming out. Our personal loan, which is gonna be $392. And then we have 2 mortgages. So we have until the 15th to pay the mortgage. So what we're gonna go ahead and do is we're not gonna put both mortgages on one pay period. We're gonna move this mortgage down to the next pay period. So that way we're not putting too much on one pay period. This is what I was talking about when I say we can move things around. The mortgage, technically the last day to pay is the 15th. So we're just gonna put one mortgage on this check and we're gonna move this one down to our next pay period. So all we're gonna do is just take this and we're gonna put it here. So that way we're not overwhelmed and we're putting so much on one pay period and we're still ahead of from the day that it's due. So guys, keep this in mind. If you have any bills like this, you can see where you have wiggle room. We technically have until the 15th. She kind of was just paying it when she can or whatever worked for her without a system. So instead of like overwhelming ourselves, we're gonna pay one mortgage on a check and then the other mortgage on the second check. So that way it's just not too much going on at once. So we're gonna pay the bigger mortgage with our bigger check, which is gonna be $15.99. So there goes the first mortgage. And then as you can see, we don't have any other bills that fall through in this time frame. Like literally, that's all we have for bills. Yes, we could pay the mortgage and get it ahead, but we're gonna split the mortgage into 2 different payments, so it's just not all on the same pay period. So is there anything else that we can move up in this week that will make it easier for us? The next week, we have the mortgage coming out and the gas, so it's not too much crazy things going on, but maybe we can move some things around. So why don't we go ahead and move our phone bill up to this pay period? The phone bill isn't too expensive, but it isn't too overpowering. So why don't we move this from another pay period where it's not as heavy? So as I talked to my client, we said we were going to move the phone bill up into the 5th, just so we have a little bit more wiggle room where everything isn't crammed into this pay period of. Because this pay period of, we're going to have the life insurance coming out, the braces coming out, the personal loan coming out again, the trash, and the bankruptcy payment. So we want to think ahead. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and move the phone bill. You guys will be like, that's not too much of a big difference, but you're gonna see when we add up everything. So we're gonna go ahead and take the phone bill and we're just gonna move it to the 5th. There's not a particular reason why I'm moving it to exactly the 5th. We just wanna move it to this pay period. So phone is gonna go over here for $225. Okay, not as a heavy of a week, that time frame, and we're gonna put the phone bill in here. All right, and then we're gonna color coordinate it so we know which paycheck it came out of. So we have our phone bill, for $225. Okay, all right, you guys, so that's everything that we're gonna cover bill wise with this check. Subscriptions are $70 for the month. She didn't have the exact date for the subscriptions, but she said usually about 1 or 2 comes out per week. So we're just gonna divide 70 divided by 4. That's about $17 per week for subscriptions. All right, now let's look at our variable expenses. So we have our gas for $360 per month. If this is a weekly budget, we take $360 and we divide it by 4. 360 and divided by 4. That's roughly about $90 per week on gas. All right, and then hair is $140 bi-weekly. We're gonna put hair when we have the higher check, so hair for $70. Groceries, we have about $200 per month. That's about $50 weekly. All right, let's go ahead and add this up and see what we total to for the week. Let's go ahead and add up our expenses. So we have the personal loan for $392, the first mortgage for $15.99, and the phone bill for $225. That puts our fix at $22.16. All right, now let's go to our variables. We have subscriptions for $17, gas for $90, hair for $70, groceries for $50. That puts our variables at $227. $227 plus $22.16. Our expenses for the week total to $24.43. Not overwhelming, not too much going on, and we still have a cushion to have a savings for this week. So formula for savings, income minus expenses for the week. All right, so $29.21 minus $24.43 is going to be $478 in our savings for this time frame. Okay, let's go ahead and highlight that. All right, that's what's going in our savings for that time being, and we are done with the first paycheck of the month, you guys. All right, you guys, so now we're gonna go to the next payday of, which is going to be the payday of the 7th. So we're gonna put payday of 2/7. All right, you guys, and let's look up what bills and expenses come out this following week. Let's go ahead and section it off and do a different color. So we're covering everything from the 7th all the way to the 14th of February. All right, let's see here what we can arrange to make this work. So we have the mortgage for sure coming out because we moved that. So let's go ahead and do the mortgage for $458. So we got the mortgage $458. And then we have the gas for $80. All right. Now let's look into the next following week, you guys. So the next week is going to be a tighter week. So we get a bigger paycheck, but we'll have the bankruptcy check coming out, the trash, the personal loan, kids' life insurance, braces, her life insurance, and our nails, and then we'll still have to cover our groceries, our gas, and that stuff. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna look through this and see what we possibly can move up to our pay period. Remember what I was saying where we can move things, you guys? So what we're gonna go ahead and move is we're gonna move the life insurance. That way we're not overpacked with so much going on. So when you feel like you have too much going on one paycheck, that's where you can feel overwhelmed. So why don't we call them and see if we can move the life insurance up? And you can do this with any of your expenses. If you feel like, okay, maybe this will be better in this pay period, call around. Most of these places, they're not really hard on you moving things around. They'll let you move things around as long as it gets paid, as long as they get they pay. Look, they ain't too much on it as long as you pay it. So we're gonna basically move the life insurance. We got $380 for the life insurance to this pay period. So that way it's not as tight this week or the next coming week. So we're gonna go ahead and put the life insurance on here for $380. Let's go ahead and add that here. the life insurance for $380. So we're gonna squeeze in this section. So I'm gonna do life insurance for $380. And that way when we have that heavier week, you know, we kind of want to keep things a little low when we have that bankruptcy, because that's where we feel stressed out because it's such a big payment. Yes, we have a good check coming in, but sometimes when you have a good check but you still have a big payment, it could feel overwhelming. So that's why we switched that and moved that around. All right, so that's everything we're going to cover for this week bill wise. Just so we don't max out, just because this check is a little smaller, we're bringing in $1,200 for this payday. All right, so let's go ahead and add up our fixed side, and then we're gonna add our variables in again. All right, so we have $458 for that second mortgage, $80 for the gas, and then $380 for the life insurance. And even if you don't want to move the date on the bill, you can just put the money aside for it, and then when the bill comes up, just pay it then. So basically it's like you're just taking the money and putting it aside for that time frame. All right, so then our variables, guys, everything that repeats again, that's weekly. So we'll have our subscriptions again that are $17 basically weekly. Then we have our gas, which is $90. And then we have groceries. Hair is bi-weekly, so it wouldn't fall on this time frame. Okay. And look at that. Like, you can see the complete layout of your week. Like, the weekly template eats. It eats. Even when you have a bi-weekly going on, you can still see it. So bi-weekly is just every other week, and then weekly is every week. So if you have some things that are bi-weekly, you're just going to do it every 2 weeks. And then if it's weekly, you just repeat it every week. Like, the template's so easy to follow. So we got subscriptions for $17, gas for $90, groceries for $50. So our variables for this week would total to $157. $157 plus $918 is going to be $1075 for our expenses for the week. All right, so we got $1,200 minus $1075. Remember, same formula, income minus expenses. $1,200 minus $1075 is going to be $125. And our savings. All right, $125. And just like that, we finished our second week of the month. That easily, you guys. Okay, super simple, super easy to follow. We are almost done with the budget. Look, you guys, so simple, so easy, quick and easy and simple. All right, you guys, so we made it through that other week. So now let's go ahead. I don't know why my camera is like bending down like this. I'm trying to stop it from doing that. All right, here you guys go. Okay. All right, so we're on the payday of the 14th, you guys. So let's go ahead and go to the payday of 2/14. So we got payday 2/14, and this is where we bring in our both of our jobs. So $29.21 is our income. Let's go ahead and use a different color. We'll go ahead and use yellow. Payday of the 14th, and we have to cover everything from the 14th to the 21st. Let's cover everything that's going to come through this week. We got the alarm for 51. Alarm for 51, and then our personal loan for 392. And we got trash for 54. Alright, we got trash for 54, you guys. And then we have the bankruptcy payment for $11.88. Okay. And then we also have the braces. For $181. And remember, we moved that other life insurance up there, you guys, so we don't gotta pay that one. And then the life insurance for $40. The other life insurance for $40. And then we have our nails for $70, you guys. Alright, you guys, so those are all of our fixed bills. So now we're going to go ahead and write down our variables that repeat again that are bi-weekly. So let's go ahead and add in those bi-weekly variables. So we have our nails that come out this week. And then we also have, let's see here, our hair will come out again, right? Yep, because hair is $70 bi-weekly. So we'll have hair again coming out for $70. And then we'll have gas coming out again for $90 because gas is $90 weekly. And then we'll have groceries for $50. And then eating out, she doesn't do quite often, but we're gonna put it on here. Eating out, she said maybe she does like once a month for about $45, so we'll just put it on here, and then she can always adjust her budget as need to be to make that different. All right, let's go ahead and add this up here and see what we're working with. So we got our subscriptions. Did we add the subscriptions? No, we're missing the subscriptions. Subs for 17 because I sub subscriptions every week. So we got subscriptions, gas, groceries, hair, nails, eating out. All right, so we got all of our main bills that come out this week. So let's go ahead and add up our fixed side. Okay, so we got our alarm for 51, our personal loan for 392, our trash for 54, the bankruptcy for 1188, the braces for 181, and then life insurance for 40. 1906 for our fixed. All right, now let's go ahead and add up our variables. 70 for nails, hair 70, gas 90, groceries 50, eating out 45, and subscription 17. So our variables are going to be 342. 342 plus 1906. Our expenses this week total to 2248. See, we moved some things around so it wasn't too crazy, but 2248. So our income is 2921 coming in from both jobs, and then 2248 going out. 2921 minus 2248 is going to be 673. And our savings, look at that cash surplus. Woo woo woo. We're supposed to have $12.96 left over, so far it looks good, you guys. Broken down, and we used yellow this week, so we're going to use a yellow highlighter to section this off. All right, 1673 goes into our savings. Now let's go to the next week. We're looking at the payday of the 21st, which is basically going to be our last check of February. So payday up to 21st. And let's go ahead and see what we have that's coming out this week, you guys. Alright, I think the only highlighter we haven't used is green. So let's go ahead and use green to section this off. But you see how moving some of the expenses down was such a game changer? Like, y'all, that's so underrated. Don't forget that. If you have too much going on one paycheck, or you just feel overwhelmed, move things around so it's not overcrowded and you still have your cushion and your cash surplus. Okay. And it's 100% normal to not have a cash surplus every payday too. Alright, so we got our second house insurance coming out for $73. So we got our second house insurance. All right, for $73. Then we have our life insurance for $541. And then our ROA for $290. And electric, we didn't have a date for the electric, but we're gonna go ahead and add it on here. Yeah, we'll add the electric, or we'll add the electric with the 28th on the last paycheck. The electric didn't have a due date on here, you guys, so we'll just add the electric with this one. Just make sure we cover it with the last paycheck of the month. Just because that one doesn't have an actual due date. Alright, so we won't worry about it with this one. Alright, now we got our subscriptions for $17 again. Our gas for $90. And our groceries for $50. Okay, let's go ahead and add this up and let's see what it totals to. Sorry you guys, I don't know, my camera's like blurring a little bit, sorry. All right, let's total this up and let's see what we total to for the month. Not me switching my pin out. Okay, so we got our second house insurance $73, our life insurance $541, and our ROA $290. So our fixed total to $904. And I'm sorry, the paycheck for this week was $1,200, you guys. It's just the one job, not both jobs combined. Subscriptions for $17, gas for $90, groceries for $50. So our variables total to $157. 157 plus 904 is going to be 1061. And we're going to take 1,200 and minus it from 1061. 1,200 minus 1061 is going to be 139 in our savings. Alright, and just like that, we finished our budget for the month, you guys. Those are all the weeks in February. Yes, we do have another paycheck in February, but this paycheck is basically going to go to March's first paycheck. So it's basically going to be a duplicate of this week. It's going to cover all those same bills again. The only difference is the electric and the Wi-Fi from the previous month will be covered with that check as well. So our cash surplus is going to seem a little bit bigger this month just because those other bills didn't fall on this week. So let's go ahead and see if we reached our total. So we're supposed to have $1,296 left over after bills and expenses. Here is our budget. Here's everything we planned for the month. Let's see how much we actually spent on our paychecks. So let's go ahead and add up the paychecks. So the first paycheck we had $478 left over. 478 plus 125 plus 673 plus 139. We have roughly $14.15 left over. Why do we have $14.15 left over instead of $12.96? Because we didn't pay the electric and we didn't pay the Wi-Fi with this pay period. So our cash surplus is a little bit bigger because those didn't fall on this pay period. This next paycheck will fall on the 28th, but it's going to be our first paycheck of March. So our cash surplus is a little bit bigger because we didn't cover those bills with a paycheck from our pay period. So I hope that makes sense to you guys, but yeah, that's why our cash surplus seems more. So now that we went and we wrote down what our cash surplus is, let's go ahead and set up our debt payoff plan. So now we're gonna go ahead and write down our creditors, our balance, and our minimum payments on each debt. I don't know why the camera isn't focusing you guys, but creditor, balance, minimum payments, and if you wanna write the interest rate, we'll put that on there. So let's go ahead and write down what our debt is. All right, you guys, so our cash surplus that we usually have left over that we quoted was $12.96 per month. This month of February, we're supposed to have an extra cash surplus of about like $1,400, but we're just gonna quote $1,300 just to keep it consistent. We should have $1,400, but we're just gonna quote the average here. Okay, so starting February, we're just gonna say that our cash surplus is $1,300 left over. That's what we average to have left over each month. Okay, so $1,300 is our cash surplus. If we have $1,300 left over, we're going to go ahead and pay off our daughter's tuition so we don't have to worry about it. So how will we pay off her tuition? We're gonna pay off the tuition in 2 months. So we're gonna focus on paying off daughter's school while still building our savings. So daughter's school has a $2,000 balance, and we're gonna break this down and put $1,000 up per month towards the debt and $300 in our savings. Okay, so that means it will take us March to pay off her tuition. So we'll put our cash surplus, we're gonna put $1,000 of that up. So that way in May, we have what we need. There's $2,000, minus that out, $2,000, we zero out, paid. All right, tuition's paid off. Now we will go ahead and put the $300 in our savings. We're putting away 300 times 2 months in our savings. So $600 would go in our savings. Okay. So not only did we pay off daughter's tuition, we were also able to put $600 up. Okay. So that's what we're gonna put up in our savings and pay off the tuition. So now we already paid that off in March. We don't even have to worry about trying to pay that off in May. We're already ahead of the game, okay? We like to be ahead. All right. So the next one we're going to go ahead and work on, we're gonna keep our cash surplus the same because we didn't pay anything no minimums off. So January, February, March, April. So starting April, we're just going to quote our cash surplus again at $1,300. $1,300 is what we should have left over after bills and expenses. We're going to go ahead and pay off the personal loan. So we're going to go ahead and pay off personal loan. The personal loan didn't have any interest on it. So what we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to see how much we paid on the personal loan. So we paid the minimum of $784 per month on the personal loan. So $784 times 3 months, because it would have been for the last 3 months, is what we paid on the personal loan. So the balance on the personal loan, $784 times 3, would be $23.52 is what was paid on this loan. Already paid. So now we're going to subtract it from the balance that we started with. So balance started was $25.56. $25.56 minus $23.52. We got $204 left on the loan. So $204 is what's left on the loan. So what we're gonna go ahead and do is we're gonna take this $1,300 and we're gonna minus it from the $204 that's left. It's gonna be $10.96 in our savings. So simple. Just like that, the personal loan is gone. Oh my gosh, why does my camera keep going in and out? Okay, there we go. Personal loan is paid off. We no longer have to pay the minimum on the personal loan. So that $784 goes back into our pockets. Okay. So now we're gonna go ahead and add that to our cash surplus. So if we have $1,300 and we no longer have to pay that $784, we have $20.84 back in our pockets starting May. Alright, cash surplus increased tremendously. Now we're gonna go ahead and pay off our son's braces. So let's see what's left on the braces. We're under the same process again. Pay off braces. Braces we're paying a $181 minimum. Paid $181 minimum on braces with no interest. Okay, so for the last 3 months, so we're going to go ahead and take 181 and run it times it by 3 months. All right, 181 times 3 is going to be 543 paid. Okay, so now let's start with the balance. The balance on the braces was $3,100. So now we're gonna go ahead and take $3,100 and we're gonna minus it from 543. 3,100 minus 543. We have 2557 left. Now we're gonna go ahead and combine our cash surplus for 2 months. All right, so let's go ahead and see. So sorry guys, my camera had turned off for a second. So we pay off our braces. This was the minimum for the last 3 months. We paid $543. So now we're gonna go ahead and take the balance minus the minimum we paid, and we're gonna see what's left. So what's left is $25.57. It's gonna take us roughly 2 months to be able to pay that off. Basically a month and a half. So we're gonna combine our cash surplus for 2 months, and we're gonna take $20.84 and times it by 2. It's gonna be $41.68. Okay, so now with $41.68, we're gonna go ahead and minus that from the what's left, $25.57. $41.68 minus $25.57, and we're gonna be able to put $16.11 in our savings. Okay, perfect. All right, now we got all the smaller expenses out the way, so now we can focus on that bankruptcy. Let's take that 60-month plan and drop it down to 26 months. So May, June, July, starting July, we no longer have to pay the minimum on the braces. So $20.84 plus $181 is going to be $22.65. All right, you guys, my camera's about to die, so I'm gonna speed this part up. So we're gonna work to pay off the bankruptcy. We're gonna put $12.65 of this towards debt, and then we're gonna put $1,200 in our savings. Okay, so the $12.65 plus the $11.88 minimum is what we're putting on the bankruptcy. So we want to pay off bankruptcy, which basically has a balance of, let's go ahead and do the math, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The last 5 months we've been paying $11.88. 5 times $11.88 with no interest. We've already paid off $59.40, $59.40, 64, 588 minus 59.40. There's basically 648 left on the bankruptcy. Alright, you guys, sorry about that. My camera died. I literally recorded it or charged it for like 3 seconds so I could finish this video because we're literally almost done. So let's go ahead and wrap it up. So the bankruptcy will roughly have about 58,648 left on there. Ignore my writing. I don't know why it looks like that, but we're gonna go ahead and top off the bankruptcy. So if we are adding a $188 minimum with no interest on it and a $12.65 extra from our cash surplus, that's roughly going to be $12.65 plus $11.88 is going to be $24.53. So basically we're going to be putting $24.53 towards the bankruptcy. So if we do the math, it would take roughly about, the balance is 58,648 divided by 24.53. It'll roughly take about 24 months to pay off. In 24 months we can pay off the bankruptcy. Okay, so 24.53 times 24 months would give us 58,872. Then we can pay off the bankruptcy. So I love turning things that would take so long to pay off to quick payoff. So then we'll take 1,000 and we'll times that by 24 months. Should have about 24,000 in her savings. Okay, That's as simple as it is. So look at that. Not only would you pay off your bankruptcy and never get in bankruptcy again because you now have a financial plan, you will be able to have a nice savings going as well. Sorry you guys, I don't know why the camera keeps blurring, but here is our full plan. So you guys, that's as easy as it is to set up a budget to pay off any of your debt. We set up our calendar, move things around where we need to. Then we have our monthly budget, an overview. Then we have our paycheck breakdown so we can see exactly where we have this money. And then we take all that money from each paycheck, save it at the end of the month, contribute it towards our debt payoff plan. So make sure you guys like this video, hit that subscribe button. Let me know in the comments what other type of videos you guys would like from me. And of course, all products can be purchased at Jaliyah.Kreationz.com. Thank you guys again for watching. I hope this video was helpful and inspired somebody else out there that might be in the same situation. Goodbye.